Welcome back to the Mindset Radio podcast. Today's going to be a little bit of a different podcast. We are going to be talking about some relationship stuff, some real life stuff, some stuff that's happening in our lives. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. We have multiple different businesses we're trying to juggle. We have the roundtable, something that we just started, helping business owners scale to that next step, right? I noticed that a lot of business owners get stuck at that $500,000 mark. I was able to take a business and scale it from 0 to $3 million in 2 years. And I did that by implementing systems, setting up solid SOPs, setting up a CRM that has automation and has a central location. It's basically the heartbeat of the company. And when I see companies that join the roundtable that have no systems, the first question I ask is, do you guys have a CRM? Most of them say, what is a CRM? And I said, boom, right there. That's my client.
Yeah.
That is somebody who I want to work with. So that's something that we've been working on, making great progress in. We have 15 members now. It's only been 5 weeks. I really see that growing into something much more than what we think it's going to be. I want it to be everything. I want it to be mindset. I want it to be business. And what I'd really like to do is eventually bring everybody in that has a specific niche that they conquer to show how you can also conquer that niche.
Right.
So if somebody's contacts us and they want to get into window tinting, and we have a window tinter in our group that makes a substantial amount of money, then they can show each other how to do it.
Right.
And now we're doing an off branch where we're calling it the Secure Woman Method. And it's something that Sheena is now implementing. And if you want to talk about that, we could talk about that.
So the roundtable, it's not only building businesses, but with the Secure Woman, we're building power couples. So together we're working on the most important parts of businesses. And that is what goes on behind the curtains, basically. What happens when you're at home also impacts what happens with anyone's business. So together we're able to work together with husbands and wives in creating a secure relationship that's strong, that's powerful, and that's balanced. Because what we've realized is when you're running multiple businesses, you're also losing time with either one thing or another. So you have to try to find balance.
And you don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm having a hard time right now figuring out that balance between family and work. I don't really even realize I'm doing it, but it gets brought to my attention. And like, what are some things that you notice that could be different? And like, what are some things that you notice that you could tell people to kind of expect and maybe how to fix? Because I'm still learning.
Yeah, well, we're learning together. You have to, as a wife of a business developer or somebody that scales other people's businesses on top of their own, you have to be strong in the sense that you have to understand that you're not second. It's not you're not a different type of priority or a lesser priority, but you have to understand that the business is going to take up a substantial amount of time. And that takes a lot of energy from your husband. It also takes a lot of energy from the wife as well.
Anyway, we're going to talk about a couple of things that I think are some hot topics in relationships right now. So, right now, let's start with, should a man pay for everything in a relationship?
Should a man pay for everything in a relationship depends on each relationship. Because if you're married, you generally have one bank account. Or do you think everyone should have one bank account?
I think there should be no. I think there should be a different. I think the man should have a backup bank account that not necessarily the woman doesn't know about, but a backup. If the main bank account goes down, right, then it's like, oh, don't worry about it. I got it over here.
Like a separate
Yeah,
savings
because
almost.
like, if you have a bank account that you're both pulling from, it can go real fast, and then all of a sudden you're down to 10 grand or whatever, or less. But if you have this bank account over here that I have been putting money away in, we can supplement it. So I think that there should be 2 bank accounts. I think that both partners should be aware of both bank accounts. I wouldn't mind if you had a bank account, if I had a bank account, and we had a joint bank account.
Well, that's exactly what we have.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's
So
that's
that works.
that's what I think, but most people would probably say that that's not good, that you should share your bank account, which I don't really understand. I don't think we'll ever do that. What do you think?
I think we do share our bank account. I think that we just have so many different revenues coming in from different places that we're able to fill different different baskets. To answer your question, I think it's individual for each relationship. It depends, because if you have a relationship where the husband's working and the wife takes care of the children, then obviously it's not that he's paying for everything, but they're paying in different ways. Like if you were to hire a cleaning company, you're paying $250 a week for them, for 3 women to come in for 3 hours once a week. So that's only 4 days out of 30 days. So if you break it down, like, it depends on the actual relationship. It's a hard question to answer. But if both people have income, then no, it's you have fun playing and paying for each things.
10 questions that I have from Facebook right now from 10 different people, and we're going to answer them.
Okay.
Okay. Why do most small businesses fail in the first 3 years?
I would say not having the right systems in place, not understanding finances, not having a strong crew, and lack of leadership.
That's good. That's probably what I would say. I mean, the number one thing is structure, is knowing your numbers. If you don't know your numbers and you don't understand your numbers, then you're going into this war blind and you don't know what you're going to make. You're guessing. You're just throwing shit at the wall and you're seeing what sticks. Also, you need systems. You need a CRM. You need to be able to to have a central location for all of your customers to be in one place so you can do SMS marketing, so you can do email marketing, so you can retain that business. There's no better customer than a previous customer. You've already been in their house, you've already earned their trust. So you need to market to that customer. There's no better customer than that customer. So, also a good team. And what does it take to get a good team? You need to hire the younger generation. There needs to be a ratio. I say it all the time, a ratio of guys that know what they're doing, and then a ratio of guys that don't know what they're doing. But those guys that don't know what they're doing, they need to be hustlers. They need to be go-getters. They need to show up every day. They need to have a good attitude,
Yeah.
and they need to want to learn. Because then you could take that ratio of guys that know what they're doing, trickle it down to the guys that don't know what they're doing, train those guys, and then those guys will grow with the company and they will be loyal until they go work for somebody else or even start their own company. Because once a guy gets really good, he knows his worth and he's going to end up going working for another company, getting more money. Hopefully, if you're in a position where you can pay them what they want, then next question is, what is the biggest mistake people make when starting a business? I think that they want instant gratification,
Yeah, true.
right?
Very true.
They want it right now. They want it right now. I'll tell you right now, you need to develop a 5-year plan because the first 2 years of business, you're not going to make money. You'll make money in the sense of like being on payroll.
Mhm.
You'll put yourself on payroll, get yourself a decent amount of weekly revenue, but you're not going to make a ton of profit. People have this idea of starting an electrical company or an HVAC company or a plumbing company, and they're going to go buy a boat and they're going to go buy this and go buy that. No, 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 no. You need to build the foundation, and all the money that you make needs to go back into the business, which is marketing, which is systems, which is coaching,
Mhm.
which is all of the things that help you get to that next level. Once you get to that next level, then yes, you'll start seeing profit come through the company that you can pull out. But the biggest thing that I'll say to answer that is they want to grow too fast. And they do grow too fast and they fall into debt. So Jeremy asks, should you quit your job before starting a business or build it on the side first?
Depends on if you have money saved. I mean, can you afford to not work while you're building a business? Because like you were saying before, people want instant gratification, meaning they want all of these millions of dollars right away. But it doesn't it you have to pay for marketing, you have a overhead expense. So unless you have a jackpot of money set to the side, you might have to do both. There's many people that work a full-time job and then work on their profession, their job that they want, their business, but they have to fund it somehow.
Yeah, when we started Horizon, it was part-time. I was working on CES Construction. We were making great money with my construction company, but when we started Horizon, we started with no money, no outside capital, no revenue, and we started part-time, and we made $300,000, our first 3 I keep saying first 3 or 6 months because I can't remember, but it was somewhere in between the first 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
We made $600,000 part time. And I said, okay, we got to take this thing full time. And I scaled it to 1.1 million and then I scaled it to 3 million. I think that you should never leave. I mean, look, you could do either one. You could go all in or you could go part time, but the safe way is to go part time. I'm an all in kind of guy. And when you go all in, I put myself up against the wall and I figure it out. And I'm like, I have no choice but to make this work.
Yeah.
Some guys work like that, some guys don't. Some guys, they have to crawl into their position. And other guys are like me, where I'm just like, fuck it, let's figure it out. Let's take a question from Todd. Todd says, "What is the fastest way to get your first customers when starting from zero?"
Pick up the phone, call. I mean, whatever service you're providing, somebody needs it, and you have to believe that that person needs it. So we used to have the yellow pages, but now you can use social media. You can do a post, or you can use your phone and just call phone numbers.
Yeah.
See who needs your service. Somebody does.
If your phone is not ringing, you need to be the one dialing.
Yeah.
That's my motto. If you are not dialing that phone the first 6 months in business, you're going to fail. But there's a lot of other ways that you can generate business. There's organic content,
Mhm.
right? There's so many different ways to go viral on the internet. I posted a reel yesterday with Meta glasses that got 250,000 views.
Yeah.
250,000 views in one day. And guess what? My logo is right at the top. The caption has my phone number. 250,000 people saw that ad, and you cannot pay that kind. I mean, it was free. That was free marketing.
Right.
So you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok marketing. You have phone call marketing where you're just calling and calling and calling. You can call property management groups. You can call real estate agents. Make yourself a goal that every single day it is mandatory for you to make 15 to 20 phone calls in each sector: real estate, property management, development, construction. Just always stay busy, and that's how you end up gaining your first client. Stephanie asks, when should a business owner hire their first employee?
Ooh, this is a good one. I think you should answer this one because you have to shed light on the importance of delegation.
Well, when I started my company, I didn't know the trade. I didn't know how to do service calls. I didn't know how to do installs. So I was forced into having to figure it out. I was forced into delegation. I hired somebody right away. And again, type of guy where I put myself up against the wall and I figure it out. So to answer that question very easily is hire them right away. And it's an investment. You're not going to make your money back on that person for the first few months. You need to figure out what their qualifications are, what they're capable of doing. Once you figure that out, you can figure out how to make money with that person, but do it right away. And the longer you have that operator owner mindset, the longer you're going to be held back by scaling. At the roundtable, one of our hardest clients working with is somebody who was a technician and is now a owner, because they still have that technician mindset of, let me go get it done. Let me go figure it out, instead of, let me delegate somebody to go get it done so I can figure out back end office operations to continue bringing in more work to get that person consistently busy. How important is social media for growing a business in 2026?
Well, we've definitely seen that consistency on social media is everything to business growth. Everything to business growth. I don't know the percentage, but what percentage would you say of customers did you get just from using Facebook and Instagram and TikTok?
70?
That's a high percentage. So 70% of your revenue is coming just from doing something that you do every day. You take videos, you post them, and you share your business phone number.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah, 70%. I mean, social media is everything. And if you don't leverage it, you're going to get left behind.
Mm.
And AI is getting there too. All right, last question and then we'll wrap it up. What kind of mindset do you need to have in order to switch to that operator or owner? And I think that starts with delegation. You need to put trust into your employees. And if you don't, then you're going to always be the one fixing the problems, and it's going to stop you from fixing the back end problems that initially really gets you to that growth stage.
And the whole point in starting your own company and your own business is to be able to have time again. I think that's why people start businesses is because they don't want to work for somebody else. They want to be able to work for themselves, which will allow them to spend more time with their families.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly working instead of delegating, then you're always going to be a slave just to your own company.
So we'll wrap it up by plugging the roundtable. The roundtable is a community that we are building of business owners, entrepreneurs, like-minded people that want to scale their business. And there's so many different ways to scale your business. There's ways that you may not know, that I may not know, but by bringing you in and we all share our ideas, that's what community is, and that's what builds great businesses. You can't do it alone. Having a team of people that all are trying to do the same thing and trying to reach a certain goal, that's strength, and that's how you end up gaining, momentum in the workplace. So if you want more information, the link is in all of our bios. It's the roundtable.me. Go check it out. Get on a phone call with my team and see if you qualify. We don't work with everybody. We work with people who are doing 500 to $1 million or more. I want to know that you're serious. We have people that have signed up in the past that, had just started in business and they weren't quite, they wanted to do things their way. They didn't fail enough yet, is my point.
Yeah.
We need people to join that have failed, that have figured out that they can't do it on their own and that they need a coach and that they need guidance and they need a mentor, because what you're doing on the outside of business is just as important as what you're doing inside of business. And that's what we teach. We teach how to shift that mindset, get in the best shape of your life, be a good husband, be a good father, and be a good business owner, and all those things combined. And Sheena, what are you doing on the side as well?
And I'm working with the women of these husbands. These high achieving husbands have to have high achieving women in the household as well. And that is a support system that every man needs. So with the secure women method, we are limited also to 12 women in our group, but we help with the psychology and the emotional support that's needed to be a functioning power couple.
So if you guys are interested, I want you to comment the word scale in this video and we'll get back to you. My team will reach out to you and we'll see if you qualify. Thank you guys.